Wore the jacket because I didn't know it was raining.
Well, I wore this, and it's a little warmer than I think, but it'll get cool in here.
Huh?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Zebulon Board of Commissioners meeting, March 4th, 2024. We will start this meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Will Commissioner Clark lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, approval of the agenda. We need to amend the agenda. To budget item, budget amendment under Parks and Rec. From consent and Public Works, authorized public auction of knuckle boom truck. And also under Public Works, emergency generator replacement, and all that would be under new business. And
Mayor, you're pulling them from consent?
yes,
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Baxter.
Mayor, I'd like to pull the minutes from the consent agenda until the March work session, please.
And we need a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
I move to adopt the agenda as amended.
Do we need a second?
Second.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Mayor, did we switch the location of the?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead. Make that.
Can we please move the board comments to the item number 10, following the manager's report, please?
Okay.
And then I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'm sorry. I didn't quite understand what you're doing.
Moving board comments until after the manager's report.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I just couldn't hear.
Since we had a second on that other one, do we have to rescind that?
Yeah, we need another
Whoever
second.
seconded would have to approve the amendment to the motion.
I second to approve the amendment of the motion that was made.
We have a motion and a second. Any question? Comments? All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. School recognition. Miss Mary Gentle, come on up. We have selected Miss Mary Gentle for our student spotlight. Mary is a hard-working student who lets nothing get in her way of her success. She is helpful to her friends around campus and encourages her peers to do the same. There is always a bit of an adjustment for our sixth graders to find new friends, to explore a wide variety of new courses and responsibilities. Mary always has a gentle, safe space for the students who have a harder time transitioning, so she offers unwavering support for students who need a friend on campus. This trait has well served her as she endeavors to join a leadership club during the time at middle school. As a sixth grade student, she's participated in theater electives that have sparked her interest in possibly joining the technical theater crew in the 7th, 8th grade. In addition, she enjoys her agricultural science electives. She gets to participate hands-on and on activities and experiments. Outside the school, she enjoys playing volleyball. Yeah, you're taller. Just don't spike me. In the summer, and spends time helping to babysit, and she goes on the family annual beach trip to support her academic success. She attends tutoring twice a week, and she works hard to maintain an A-B honor roll each quarter this year. As a sixth grader, she has a bright future ahead of her, and she will continue to thrive well beyond middle school years. We have no doubt that Mary will meet and exceed her own goals. We are proud to select her for this achievement. The town of Zebulon recognizes Mary Weathers Gentile, Zebulon Middle School, for being our outstanding student and role model for other students. March 4th, signed, Glenn L. York, Mayor. Thank you. Next, Mr. Zachary. I'm going to let you pronounce the last name because I'll chop it up.
Just like it's spelled, Parchamenko.
Parchamenko, okay, all right. He's a dedicated educator, serving as an 8th level chair of the Zebulon Gifted and Talented Magnet Middle School for Advanced Studies and STEM. In addition to his teaching role in 6th grade math teacher, he actively contributes to the school's community baseball coach, the Odyssey of the Mind Club. I remember that one. For a reaction, there's a reaction. Yeah. He actively contributes and supports the Science Olympiad program. He's also known as a supportive demeanor, innovator, teaching methods, and genuine care for student success. His willingness to go above and beyond, assist students and colleagues alike, makes him an invaluable access to the school. The town of Zebulon recognizes Zachary Parchamenko, Zebulon Middle School, for his exceptional service and commitment to his students. March 4th, signed, Mayor Glenn L. York. Proclamation, Women's History Month. Did someone want to read that?
Sure.
Commissioner Baxter?
Proclamation designating the month of March as Women's History Month. Whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of the life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. And whereas women were particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in our nation, and whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement, including securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, voting, civil rights, and the efforts to address systematic inequalities and promote a more inclusive and just society. And whereas we honor the women who have tirelessly worked to dismantle barriers, challenge prejudices, and create opportunities for all individuals regardless of their background. And whereas, despite these contributions, the role of women in history has been consistently overlooked and undervalued in the literature, teaching, and study of American history. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Zebulon Board of Commissioners designates March as Women's History Month, calling upon the people of Zebulon to honor the women who have dedicated themselves to advocating for equity, diversity, and inclusion, and let us continue to work together to build a more just, equitable, and inclusive world. Adopted this 4th day of March, 2024.
Strategic plan grant funding.
All right. Good evening. You're aware, just a reminder of the process, the strategic plan grant process is a part of the budget process every year. Tonight is strictly an opportunity for the groups to come and make their presentation as part of the application process. The application period, it was open from January 8th to the 31st. We posted it on the website and shared it on our social media accounts. There's no decision tonight. This is just their opportunity to speak in front of the board and describe what their organization would do and how they would use the funding. And then each group has 3 minutes to speak, and they can use the podium to my right over here. And we'll just go down the list and we'll just call them up one at a time if they have someone here. We'll start with Preservation Zebulon.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Mary Beth Carpenter, Executive Director of Preservation Zebulon. I live here in Zebulon at 214 East Horton Street. Preservation Zebulon's mission, we advocate for the preservation of historic buildings and landscapes that embody important elements of the history and culture of Zebulon and promotes their conservation for the enrichment of residents and businesses. We also seek to preserve the memories of its residents and business owners. Funding will help Preservation Zebulon with the tax credit workshop we co-sponsored with the town last month to help offset the $560 of postage and printing for the publicity. It will also assist with our Fall Zebulation event, where we highlight stories of elderly residents and on film. It will help us with our Historic Homes Tour, which we're holding again in April of 2025 to promote Zebulon's history, and it will help with our Spring and Fall Walking Tours. We ask the town to support our efforts to highlight and promote history and preservation in the area. Our organization promotes small town life and a vibrant downtown. Our historic downtown walking tours promote downtown's history and cultural significance. Our historic home tour draws people to Zebulon to see these restored structures. We held these in 2022 and 2023, and again, they'll be back in April of 2025. Our Zebulon Memory Project captures pre-1980 photos and stories from longtime residents to record and educate people about our past. Our group also helps with the Growing Smart initiative. Our National Register Historic District allows businesses and houses which contribute to the district to receive tax credits for restoration of their structures, which helps revitalize the area and increases economic development opportunities. We serve 800 people directly annually, plus also another 3,900 on social media and electronic newsletters. These metrics include the number of people who are attending the historic homes tours, our number of volunteers, the number of structures open for tours, people attending our events, which are the walking tours, the Zebulon annual meeting, the Memory Project presentation, and the Historic Homes Tour. Other numbers include households receiving our educational mailings and Facebook followers for our events and the Zebulon Memory Project stories. Thank you for your consideration of supporting our group.
Thank you. Next up is Brown Bag Ministry of Wendell.
My name is Laura Doherty, and I am here on behalf of Brown Bag Ministry of Wendell. Brown Bag Ministry is a nonprofit organization which began in 2005 by Patricia Hartley and Mary Jo Bukowski in one of their kitchens. Soon thereafter, they were operating out of St. Andrew's Church in Apex and still does every Saturday. Tom Falvey, our lead coordinator at our location, would volunteer at their location regularly and quickly saw the need in the Wendell and Zebulon area. So in 2010, Tom approached Father Joe at St. Eugene's and asked if we were able to operate on their grounds. And Father also saw the need for this area and accepted for us to be able to operate on their grounds. And so we began our location on April 22nd, 2010. Our numbers have fluctuated over the years, but as of this meeting, we have served 599,300 lunches, with our current weekly number being 675 lunches. The majority of our lunches we make stay in Zebulon, and we currently make 200 for the Boys and Girls Club of Zebulon and 300 lunches, which get delivered door to door to the Zebulon housing units. We also deliver to the Wendell Housing, Helping Hands of Wendell, and a low-income apartment. This grant would help us with the weekly food cost, which includes a fruit, 2 snack items, and a sandwich on a weekly basis. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you. Positive Attitude for Life. All right, East Wake Education Foundation.
Good evening. My name is Shannon White. I'm the Executive Director for East Wake Education Foundation. I want to thank you for this opportunity to share with you about our program and how we would use funds if we received them. For 30 years, East Wake Education Foundation has offered free preschool services to families with children ages birth to 5 in eastern Wake County. All families we serve are from households that are 200% of the poverty line. Our mission is to provide young children and their families access to quality preschool and a network of educational and developmental resources. We are unique because parents or caregivers stay on site and participate in daily activities with their children. This allows our staff to partner with them on understanding age-appropriate milestones, answer parenting questions, and help connect them with any additional services when needed. In September of 2022, we partnered with the town of Zebulon and your Park and Rec staff to offer a 2-day-a-week program housed in your community center. This program serves 15 children and their caregivers every Wednesday and Thursday. Programming runs from September to May. We have 2 staff members that set up and break down centers and facilitate our program. Opening the site in Zebulon has helped eliminate barriers for families. Our lead teacher is bilingual, helping with language barriers, and holding program at the community center helps meet families closer to their homes, eliminating transportation barriers. This September, we duplicated this program in Knightdale with those same 2 staff members. Expansion of our program was made possible by a 2-year grant from Wake County Commissioners. This grant will end in June of this year, and our board and staff are committed to this program and continuing this into our next fiscal year. So if we were to receive funds from the town of Zebulon, we would use them for general operating expenses for our Zebulon-based program. We are appreciative of the partnership with the town of Zebulon and your Park and Recreation staff. You all have been a huge help and a wonderful support in making our program a success. Thank you for your time and interest in the work that nonprofits do in your community. We appreciate your prioritizing funding for organizations in your fiscal year 25 budget.
Thank you.
Zebulon Shrine Club.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Board of Commissioners. My name is Dale Dancause. I'm current treasurer of the Zebulon Shrine Club. I've been past president of the Zebulon Shrine Club 2 times now. The Zebulon Shrine Club is a place for Shriners to meet for fellowship and raise funds for our facilities, the Anne Marian Temple, the Greenville Shriners Hospital, and Canton, Ohio Shriners Hospital. Of the hospitals, the Greenville Shriners Hospital does the orthopedic, and Canton, Ohio does the burns. Also, too, we provide a facility for individuals and groups to rent at a reasonable cost. We have fundraising events. We have a fish fry coming up this coming Good Friday, and we got one planned later on. Plus, also, too, we're going to try to plan a breakfast with Santa. What I'm looking for is not necessarily funding for our organization, but an informational board. When I was driving through the town of Wendell, I seen this nice board advertising events for all the groups. Up there are 7 organizations, and preservation is we want to be doing something for fundraising or getting the word out. It'd be nice if we had, I would like to see a board built to advertise all these organizations and set up some rules of how long the message would be, the time and dates. Obviously, you couldn't run one for 10 months, but a reasonable time. Right now, our only fundraising we do is by word of mouth and by the roadway signs that we have that we post alongside the road. And again, thank you for letting me speak, and that is my goal I like to see. I'd like to thank everybody here tonight. I see a lot of these people come to our fish fries, and we appreciate that very much. Thank you for your time, and have a good evening.
Could I just ask a question of clarification? So you're just asking for support for an informational board?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so very much.
Yeah, so to help all the nonprofits.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the James E. Shepherd School Alumni Association.
Good afternoon. My name is Shirley Snelling. I'm the newly elected president of the James E. Shepherd School Alumni Association, based here in Zebulon. Thanks to our mayor, Mr. York, the town Zebulon Board of Commission for this time. The James E. Shepherd School Alumni Association formed in 1979, 9 years after the school was closed in 1970. Approximately 3,800 students had an opportunity to roll through the halls during its 4 decades of existence. In 1979, articles of incorporation were filed with the state of North Carolina as a nonprofit corporation, and in 2017, we received our 501c3 federal exempt status. Those 38 students lived in and around Zebulon. Some moved away, and many stayed here, building good, strong family ties. We continue to maintain constant contact with these families by way of Facebook, emails, church, and other activities in and around Wake, Franklin, Johnston, Nash, and surrounding counties, towns, cities throughout the state and the world. Our mission statement is to enhance and promote the memory and legacy of James E. Shepherd School, strengthen membership, provide lifelong connections, and promote higher education. Throughout the year, we have community action projects providing families with meals through the holiday seasons. And this year, and hopefully for years to come, and thanks to the town for partnering with us, as we were able to have the African American experience, providing the Black community with displays of their heritage here in Zebulon. And many thanks to Mr. Desi Campbell and the Harnett County African American Heritage Center for putting so much of his time into this project. This project was a huge success. Our biggest project is the scholarship banquet held in July of each year. We award $1,000 scholarships to high school and college students. We strive to give one more than the previous year. Last year, we were able to give 5. Last year we were able to give 4. We would love to give 5 this year. If awarded the grant, excuse me, I'm a little nervous, can't you tell?
You're doing great.
If awarded the grant, it will be used to aid in our community action projects, many of whom bring back people to the community, aiding in the building up of the Zebulon and encouraging those that are here to come back, and those that those that are not here to come back and be a part of what we are doing. We get involved with helping the Zebulon community to become a thriving community, and we have a strong support with our Alumni Association. Right now, our source of income is by membership, dues, donations, and fundraisers. Your consideration in this is greatly appreciated, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to have come here to make this presentation tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
North Carolina Community of Coalitions. I think I got an email from them, so they would not be able to make it.
I think someone's here now for the positive attitude.
Yes.
She would like to come up.
Good evening. Thank you so much. My name is Katora Powell, and I'm the founder and CEO of Positive Attitude for Life. We are a nonprofit, 501c3 nonprofit organization, actually in Knightdale, North Carolina, and our mission is to help youth, like our teens. Before we had it for girls, 12 to 18, now we open it up for guys because we see that the need is great within our community. There in Knightdale, we enjoy it, but we want to outreach and do more. I'm trying to think what else. It's a lot going on in my mind. But basically what we do is we look at the whole person and we want to help the whole person. So we want to help them mentally, we want to help them physically, emotionally, financially, and also spiritually. So we make sure that we address those areas because we feel that if a teen has those tools, that they can use those when they get older and become adults. So we want to help them to be able to cope when different issues occur in their life and not just go to something negative, but to be able to cope when different issues occur. Within Zebulon, what we want to do is, excuse my voice, we want to provide workshops and also provide outings for the youth. And also we like to partner with our parents and also do more with their siblings as well. So we want to provide and help the whole family, just because we see, like we said, our focus is on the teens, but when we outreach and we pull in the parents and their family, we can do more with that. So that's pretty much it. I think that was 3 minutes. Thank y'all so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, those were the 7 applicants. You'll see a little later on in the agenda. Caleb will be discussing a preview as far as a policy, talking about the policy and possible revisions to it. But that's it for now. As I said, obviously no decision tonight. That'll come later on in the budget process, but this is their opportunity to speak to you guys. And thank you.
Thank you. Public comment. We now have public comment. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak. You can come to the podium on my
No one signed up.
No one signed up for public comment?
No,
Do we have
and I didn't receive anything in an email.
no emails?
No,
Okay.
sir.
All right, thank you. Okay. To consent. And first item that was pulled, budget amendment, athletics, ordinance 2024-35.
No, sir. We just need a motion to approve what was left on the consent agenda, please.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Motion passes. Planning, Hospital Road, ordinance 2024-37. Sam?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. Talking through this. This is 321 Hospital Road, ordinance 2024-37. It is a zoning map amendment. As always, when we're going through these, it's important to talk through the standards for approval of any zoning map amendment. That is, that the zoning map amendment follows or is within the health, safety, and welfare of the community. It is appropriate for the location. It is reasonable and in the public interest, and any other relevant factors you deem necessary or relevant. The property in question, you can see highlighted in yellow, is located on both Hospital Road and Pony Road. It has two frontages. The applicant is Michael Germano. The property is 321 Hospital Road, and it's 0.34 of an acre. The current zoning of the property is OI, office and institutional, and they are requesting the zoning of general commercial GC. As I stated, the property is currently zoned OI. You see it's kind of surrounded by office and institutional uses, but there is a lot of commercial around it in red as well along Gannon.
So that's not heavy industrial?
No, I think that is a mislabel there. I apologize about that. The future land use shows the property as commercial, general commercial, as you can see on the map. This being a general rezonings, there's no conditions or anything like that. They are just looking to go from OI to GC, so we'll follow the same standards that I stated before. The planning board recommended approval unanimously of this rezoning, and the staff recommends the approval of REZ 2401 for 321 Hospital Road, finding that the standards of section 2.2.24J have been met and the request is consistent with the comprehensive land use plan. Does the board have any questions?
Any questions, comments? Is there a motion?
The use is going to be an import-export?
I would refer
business?
those questions to the applicant. Michael Germano is here if you want to ask those.
Let's find out.
Good evening. Yes, the owners wish to use the property for logistics, importing and exporting goods into the area, and then they will be resold outside of the area as well. So that's what they're looking for.
So these are goods that are going to be sold within Zebulon? So
No.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Are these goods going to be sold within North Carolina?
No.
Are there any other questions, comments for the applicant? Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion here to approve ordinance 2024-37 for 321 Hospital Road as presented, finding that the request is consistent with the comprehensive land use plan and the standards in sections 2.224.j of the UDO.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Hearing none. Motion fails for lack of a second. Thank you. Any more questions or comments concerning this issue?
I'm willing to make a motion to table this to the April meeting.
That would be great.
I'll second that on that.
Yeah.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Discussion.
I just need a little more clarification and a little more time, because of I understand that the planning board, you voted unanimously, and I know that carries weight. I trust you all's decision-making. I just still have some questions with the future land use plan as well as the plans that are in this particular use for this land. I have some questions with what this property could be used for outside of the scope of what you all are using it for. So those are my reservations, and I still need time to sit with that before I can comfortably vote on this particular item.
Yes. What information would you like for us to bring forward?
Thank you for asking that question. I just need to take a little more time to maybe meet with the planning board, meet with our planning director, ask some more detailed with the information that you've given us tonight. I just want to make sure that when we make this decision, if this decision is to be made, that we're making it for the best interest of Zebulon and the use of this particular property. So you all have provided us with ample information, and we appreciate that. But I just want to make sure that we are looking at all aspects of the property use. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? We have a motion and a second. We have a roll vote.
No,
Start.
sir, we don't have a motion.
We do
We
have a
do.
motion to
You
table.
made a motion to table until,
The April board
Okay,
meeting.
I'm sorry, I
That's
did
okay.
not have that. Thank you.
And then
I
Commissioner, oh, Commissioner
Ms.
Harrison
Kessler
seconded.
No, I did.
I
Yeah,
recognize
second and
her.
a third.
Got a second. Second, third, fourth. We're
Favor,
good.
favor, favor.
It's all good.
Is there a roll vote, starting with Commissioner Davis?
Favor.
Commissioner Clark?
Not in favor.
Commissioner Harrison?
Favor.
Commissioner Miles?
Favor.
Commissioner Baxter?
Favor.
Motion passes. Thank you. Board appointments. Let's see. We have several board appointments. Opportunity to,
You're missing a name.
for each applicant.
Can I request that we do Parks and Rec first? We have a citizen in the audience who has taken time off of work to be here tonight. Is that okay for everyone if we do that one first?
Each of the applicants has the opportunity to speak, and they're going to be called up one at a time, all of them first.
That's fine. Can we do Parks and Rec first, please?
It wasn't being done by board. It was, everybody was coming up to speak, and then we were going to do a roll vote after that, because several people are on multiple boards.
Okay, thank you.
So, I mean, if you guys want to change it, that's fine. I'm just saying,
That's fine. Let's continue.
okay.
That's confusing.
So when called your name, if you would like to come up to the podium and speak.
Can we call David Field first?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but,
it doesn't matter.
Latoya Carter. She here?
Could we call David Field next, please, Mayor?
David Field.
Thank you.
Thank you for the consideration, Commissioner. My name is David Field. I'm trying to get onto the Board of Parks and Recreation. I've been going around to the parks and talking to some of the employees who work there, as well as meeting the board here briefly, or at least one of the members on it. And I work here at the API Advanced Plaster Forum, and I was trying to think what I can do, what I can bring to the board. So one thing that I've seen that I thought I could add is I have a daughter who is a special needs. She has Down syndrome. And what I'd like to see brought is some more needs for the special needs. I also have a 96-year-old grandmother I take care of. I think you do great with some of the elderly population for sure, but I thought some things to bring some of the families together who have special needs children. I'm also a member of the Latter-day Saints Church, and we have a member there who is also special needs. At the community center, things where the family can meet each other, provide support for one another, as well as providing activities was one of my ideas. I've also thought of nature walks, having a sheet, so it's like a checklist of things that you can find. And with regards to special needs, a sensory one. So not just a checklist of what you can see, but also what you can feel, what you can touch, what you can smell, along with what you can see. A lot of children need the extra sensory adaptation. I think we got pickleball covered. Now, I understand that pickleball is really big. I have not yet played it. Nightdale claims they got the best pickleball arena there is, just out in their park. But things like that, you know, things to bring the community together. I work along with the comic book store here, and I know they do a great Comic-Con. And I know I do some volunteering there. And I think the Boy Scouts, we have a Boy Scout troop, or a Cub Scout troop here in Zebulon. And I know they've done a flag turn-in recently at the last comic convention, which I think is awesome. But they have other things that they do that I like to somehow be involved with the Scoutmasters there to bring along with the Parks and Recreation, because I think that we can do some sort of, they have a lot of merit badges and things they're trying to do. But anyway, I'd like to offer that to them to see what else we can offer. So ideas got plenty. I understand a lot of it comes with financing, bringing the money in. Now, I happen to know Commissioner Baxter, and she knows how to bring in money, so. So,
Do
but I
I?
know that there's other members of, in this beautiful building of service to help bring in money for some of the ideas. Also, we have this huge park plan coming for Zebulon, which is just awesome, just fantastic. And I'm looking forward to it. It is like from here to Mudcat State, it's just awesome. My name is David Field. A member of the American Legion, which is no longer really running here in Zebulon, but I've been given authorization to help get that started as well, because we need it going. Wendell gets all our jobs right now for the American Legion, but I want to use that in conjunction with my service to the community. Anyway, thank you all so much. I appreciate it. I love this community. I love it. I love this community. I love being a part of it. And I've gone down to the office of Teresa down here, and they have on the wall there in Teresa's office, they have like our morals and our values of Zebulon. And it is something, if nobody's ever read that, go down and read it, because it really just speaks to the heart of who I am too. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Mayor York, I have comments for LaToya Carter, if you would let me read them, please.
Okay.
She was unable to be here tonight. It says, my name is LaToya Carter, and I'm a current resident of Zebulon since 2016. I am a licensed clinical social worker with many years of experience serving the community in many capacities. I am invested in my community as I volunteer to contribute to the success and be a leader by giving of my time and effort. I believe that I could approach this position with a community-focused perspective. I am seeking to be on the planning board as I believe it will allow me to contribute to the future vision and direction of Zebulon. I want to be involved in providing and guiding the orderly growth and development of this community for years to come. I am intrigued to learn more about the town's master plan, zoning bylaws, and the planning board's rules and regulations governing subdivision of land here in Zebulon. I would greatly appreciate your selection of me to have a seat at the table as a planning board member. Thank you for hearing my request. Have a great evening and the rest of your week. Best regards, LaToya Carter, Sandair Drive, Zebulon.
Any more that has requested to be read?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The next one is Sylvia Wheeler. I am planning to be there this evening, but it really depends on how I am completely feeling. I am getting over a sinus infection and my stomach is not completely like the medication. I am originally from Boston, where decisions have been known to be made without the neighbors' input. Since moving to Zebulon, I like having the option to make a decision on what is going on around me, or even hear in advance what is coming or going on around me. I would like to be able to have some form of input as well, be able to encourage people to get involved with their neighborhood, be it new homes being built, perhaps opportunities for a sit-down restaurant or a community workout center for all of, to be able to be, a workout center for all to be able to participate in. So, I'm sorry. Thank you, Sylvia Wheeler. Daiva Hill was unable to be here tonight. She was unable to send any comments. She had a family emergency, so she wanted me to share that. She lives in Weaver's Pond. It says, this is Wendell Holden. It says, hello, this is Wendell Holden. I was unaware of the appointment meeting. I am unable to attend. My apologies. I would like to be on the board to gain a better understanding of the needs of our community. Again, I wanted to be able to attend, and I look forward to meeting everyone in the future. Sincerely, Wendell Holden. And Kayla Verdon, who put her name in, has sent and asked that her application for consideration be withdrawn. And she is not on any of the ballots that will be presented. And that is all of the names that I have comments for.
Okay. Rufus Wilson?
Good evening. Thank you for consideration for this position. My name is Rufus Wilson Jr. I am a resident here in Zebulon, North Carolina. I live in Weaver's Pond. One of the things that I was intrigued by back in 2011, bringing my then 10-year-old daughter here to Zebulon, was the ability to grow. She played on the AAU team back in 2011. Coming here and then moving here in 2020, it was a world of difference. Seeing the growth, seeing the ability to grow was very intriguing for me. One of the things that I pride myself on is being servient, and servitude is very important to me. When I came to this community, I met many of you guys and had the opportunity to share my plan. My plan is to be available, be accountable, and represent Zebulon the best I can through every aspect. One of the things we did, my wife and I, when we moved here, we decided to move our companies here. I'm the CEO of Sortec, and she owns Sorbet Candles. One of the things that we really found to be exciting is the togetherness of the people. Foundation of a community is started with the youth, so I'm also looking to be a part of the Parks and Rec Board as well. Being a coach for many years, coaching varsity baseball in my alma mater at Washington High School in Washington, North Carolina, playing baseball on a very high level allowed me to see that it took people along the way to help me in my journey. So being a part of Zebulon, understanding the planning side of things and seeing Zebulon grow to where it can be, coming from many government agencies, one in Beaufort County, and also being a huge part of workforce development in Charlotte, North Carolina, where at that point we're at 1 million people, and now we've succeeded that, and I see the growth that I was able to assist with during that period of time. So thank you for the consideration, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Kyle Adams.
Good evening, everyone. I got a bad haircut day, so I gotta keep my hat on.
You're excused.
I come from Ohio. I moved to Zebulon about 7 years ago, and I loved it ever since. I met Mr. Miles a few years back, and he literally pushed me out there. Didn't know I'd been pushed till it was too late. I'm like, wow, how did I get out here? It was because of him, so I appreciate you. I really do. He got me in the right connections, directions. I appreciate the board, and I want to be a part of it because while I was in Ohio, I worked at a prison for 10 years, a maximum prison. We saw the youth on that side and how they were deterred and how they didn't get the treatment that they needed. So I figured I can switch it on the board side. I can be an example because we always talk, but we're not doing the work. So no more talking, let's do the work. I always say if each one can reach one, then we all can teach one. Thank you.
Wait a second.
The Ohio State.
He's got my vote. Sorry, guys.
We won't hold it against
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Naya Moten.
Good evening, board. My name is Naya Moten, and if I'm a Buckeye, I'm a Buckeye tonight. But it's okay. But listen, I'm from Washington, D.C., by way of Northern Virginia, and I moved here to Zebulon in 2020, and has been here for 3 years. And I just wanted to communicate just my desire to contribute to the board. There are some key aspects that I want to contribute to the board that I really focus on. And first, of course, in general, is the community development. I have a neighborhood that I live in called Shepherd's Park, which is predominantly rental. We are very minimal in homeowners in that community, but my family has been a family that we are pretty much the presidents of this community, where we host HOA meetings at my home, and we are here in the heart of the community just by volunteering to hear it. And so I've connected with other commissioners based on this grievance that we've had in the past. And so with that being said, we've seen a lot of issues with the youth in our area, and that is one main focus that I want to focus on, more so of after-school activities, mentorship specifically for the younger teenagers, having a place, having a plan, having resources to plug in, which we don't find a lot of right now in the Zebulon community, specifically for those teenagers. And we want to implement something more for them also. I've noticed also when my son used to go to Zebulon Elementary School, we've had some issues with some of the parents getting their kids to school from the Autumn Lakes community. Some of them walk. And that has been an issue because there's no sidewalk that connects to Zebulon Elementary. So I've seen even a pregnant mother walking with her first grader to across the street. So I wanted to kind of focus on some areas that we could improve in for just that expansion. Also with parks and development and education. I'm a homeschool mom currently. I don't really hear a lot about the homeschool community here in Zebulon. I would like to provide support in that area and some resources to connect with the library and also Parks and Recs. For Parks and Recs, I would bring my son to the community, but there is nothing really available. There's no open gym during these school hours. There's not much at the library that we can plug into that I've seen other neighboring communities have. And so I wanted Zebulon to have the very things that other communities have around us. And lastly, I just want to mention this, just to get you guys understanding where we're going in the future. North Carolina Journal states that it has been 20.6 increase in registered homeschool families. So we are going to have an influx of homeschool communities coming, and I would like to connect people with co-ops and being able to have resources where other parents can get together as a community, just how we already do in Zebulon, how we have that family feel. I would like to also plug in the homeschool piece of Zebulon into that. So thank you all for just allowing me to speak tonight, and I'm just so enthusiastic about what's going to happen in Zebulon. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcus Bennett.
My name is Marcus Bennett. I served my country for 8 years at the 82nd Airborne Division out in Fort Liberty. I put my name in for the Parks and Recs board as an advisor to the board. I am a youth basketball coach. I am hosting my second annual spring and summer camps. Mayor York and Quentin Miles, Commissioner Quentin Miles, they both visited my camp last year. Saw the positive that I was doing and wanted to be more involved. I've reached out to Amy Haddon and Nick Rummage for support as well, and they have gotten me inside of their gym this year. So this year for my summer program, I will be in the gym. What I can bring to the Parks and Rec department, however, is connection with the youth. The youth needs a familiar face, someone they can identify out in public, within the community, that they can say, hey, how you doing, sir? Can I ask you a question? Or, can you instill some confidence in me or direct me in different directions? I get a lot of that now when I'm at the grocery store or if I'm visiting the local Walmart here. I have a lot of kids that have been in my program that come up to me and they are either telling me how much they improved or they're asking me how they can improve, not just on their basketball skill set, but also as a youth. My kids also attended Zebulon Elementary School, and they will come back with a lot of disturbing comments about the school and the youth inside of the school. And that's where I saw the need to step in. I volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club, as well as I volunteer every year so far for our basketball program. Basketball is my expertise. I know there's others here that have other skill sets as well that we can all come together. I want to be the pioneer to have camps, not just waiting for the sports season to start for these particular programs, but also having getting ahead of the game with just training the youth, again, being a familiar face, somebody, a voice they can always kind of come back to and say, hey, you know, Coach Marcus, thank you for helping me. This year was a great, I got a great feeling from the kids this year that came to my camp last year. When they played basketball, they had a lot more confidence. They played harder this year, and they thanked me a lot for that. So I want to add that piece in it. And I really appreciate the recommendation to be a part of the board. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just wanted to make mention that for my son who played on the league against Coach Marcus's team, no one ever wanted to play against their team. So just putting that out there, but great job.
Next, Ms. Privet. She not here? Did she send in any information? Okay. Scott Carpenter?
Honorable Mayor York, Mayor Pro Tem Harrison, Commissioners. My name is Dr. Scott Carpenter. I live in downtown Zebulon on East Horton Street. I am submitting an application for the Board of Adjustment. I wake up every morning to a new and different Zebulon. More people, new houses, new buildings, different businesses, new stoplights and stop signs, wider roads, congested traffic, more proposed new developments. For me, a new and different Zebulon every day is exciting. For some, it can sometimes be frightening and frustrating. How will we manage these changes? You've already laid the foundation for that with excellent policies. A vision plan, unified development ordinances, an online interactive development map, a transportation comprehensive plan, a comprehensive land use plan, a parks and rec master plan, the Main Street program. Soon you'll have affordable housing policies and a master downtown plan. All of those plans are wonderful, and I've read them all. I've listened to you as you debate and form those policies. I've attended meetings and workshops to understand them better. These policies serve as the blueprints for the future of Zebulon. However, these plans often have conflicts between them that may need adjusting. We see that play out, for example, when a planning proposal is submitted that takes a few years to work its way through the process, while new policies and master plans are then approved, and that results in new questions and new revisions that did not exist a few months earlier. Every morning in Zebulon is a new and different Zebulon. You experience it, I see it. Soon, due to our growing population, Zebulon's ETJ will expand. Some people who were not part of Zebulon will become part of Zebulon. This will certainly result in the need for us to all do some adjusting. I would like to serve on the Board of Adjustments to serve you, to serve our citizens, and to help our development projects. The Board of Adjustment is required to hear appeals and variances for development projects. The town's UDO clearly lays out the appeals process and the Board of Adjustment's duties. I can do that. I have served in the past on several HOA architectural committees and was an HOA president for 4 years. I volunteered for those duties not because I subscribed to the HOA way of doing things, but instead because I sought to bring order to hearing the grievances and concerns of the membership. I'm used to hearing concerns and to helping to work through them with the policies. I can do the same with the numerous policies that you have and will be continuing to put in place and that work for the betterment of Zebulon. As a project manager, I'm used to corralling multiple viewpoints to make good decisions. As an engineer, I'm used to thorough and thoughtful examinations. I regularly work with architects, engineers, designers, builders, developers, and attorneys. Please consider my application for the Zebulon Board of Adjustments. It's a job I can do. It's a job I want. Thank you.
Thank you. We will do this process by ballot until we have appointed the individuals to each prospective board. Board members will please remember that they are not obligated to appoint persons that are on the board just because they've submitted their names for consideration. We begin with the planning board. There are 3 in-town openings for the planning board.
please vote for 3.
Everyone mark their ballot.
We did. We had people do write-in votes, but we didn't have all the information prior to this meeting. This particular person was willing to wait until the next appointment. So the board would have to decide if they're willing to take that name or if they're willing to wait until the next appointment, which would come up in April or May.
And that I put in was for the application that I gave you guys last month.
We didn't receive his driver's license in time to verify his residency because the email address on the application was incorrect. It did not come in. I did not see it until this morning. So you were not able to, and the application was not able to be held in or presented in the packet for everyone. And he did not seem to have an issue when I emailed him this morning of waiting until openings came up again for June, or July, excuse me.
So what do you need from us? A motion
I
to
need to have
accept?
a motion whether you would accept write-in ballots.
I make a motion that we accept write-ins.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll vote. Commissioner Baxter?
Favor.
Commissioner Miles?
Favor.
Commissioner Harrison?
Not in favor.
Commissioner Clark?
Not in favor?
Commissioner Davis?
Favor.
Motion passes.
All right, Joe, if you'll add. The name George Roa was a write-in vote for Amber Davis. 1 vote. Nia Moten, 1 vote. Kyle Adams, 1 vote. Commissioner Clark, Sylvia Wheeler, 1 vote. Rufus Wilson, 1 vote. Kyle Adams, 1 vote. Jessica Harrison, Rufus Wilson, 1 vote. Kyle Adams, and Nia Morton. Commissioner Baxter, Kyle Adams, Nia Moten, and George Roa. Quentin Miles, Kyle Adams, Nia Moten, and George Ora. The board has appointed, I can't see it, Joe, Kyle Adams, Nia Moten, and George Roa to the planning board.
Okay. Next is Parks and Recs Advisory Board. There are 2 openings. Please mark your ballots.
Lisa?
I'm supposed to vote for two.
You really don't need to vote to, they've already decided who they're gonna vote for to put on the board, so it's really no need for us to vote at all, if they've already decided who they're.
Kind of defeats the purpose.
Kind of pointless to have a fair democracy when we have the majority of our board having meetings outside, deciding what they're gonna do.
Exactly.
We just-
Amber Davis, David Field, Bennett, Beverly Clark, Rufus Wilson, Marcus Bennett, Shannon Baxter, David Field, Marcus Bennett, Jessica Harrison, Rufus Wilson, Marcus Bennett, and Quentin Miles, David Field, and Marcus Bennett. David Field and Marcus Bennett have been appointed to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Thank you. Next is the Board of Adjustment. There are 2 regular in town and 1 alternate opening. Mark your ballots.
Please make sure you mark who is a regular appointee and who is an alternate, please. There's 2 regulars and 1 alternate. Okay, we have another write-in for this. We would need another motion to approve write-in for the Board of Adjustment of Rufus Wilson.
I make a motion that we approve the write-in for Rufus Wilson Jr.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
It would be good to know if Rufus would want to serve on that board before we add his name.
Pardon me?
I said it would be great to know if he would even be interested in serving on that board before we added his name, but I think he's left. I don't blame him, but yeah, I think he's left.
Yeah.
So,
When he filled out his application,
He
he only referenced the Planning Board and the Parks and Recreation Board. He
Sure.
did not mention being interested in the Board of Adjustment.
right.
Well, there are planning board openings that are upcoming, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
Yes, go again?
There are planning board openings that are coming up in the not-too-distant future, in the next couple months.
I say we move forward to vote.
For writing.
Any other questions, comments on the motion for the write-in of Rufus Wilson? Roll vote, Commissioner Baxter?
Approve.
Commissioner Miles?
Favor.
Commissioner Harrison?
Not in favor.
Commissioner Clark?
Not in favor.
Commissioner Davis?
Favor.
Motion passes.
Rufus Wilson Jr. Quentin Miles, Rufus Wilson, regular. Sylvia Wheeler, regular. Scott Carpenter, alternate. Beverly Clark, Sylvia Wheeler, regular. Africa Privet, alternate. Scott Carpenter, regular. Amber Davis, Sylvia Wheeler, regular. Africa Privet, regular. Scott Carpenter, alternate. Jessica Harrison, Scott Carpenter, regular. Sylvia Wheeler, alternate. Sylvia Wheeler, alternate, and Scott Carpenter, regular. Yes, she did not vote for Ms. Privet. And then Shannon Baxter, Sylvia Wheeler, regular, Scott Carpenter, alternate, Rufus Wilson, regular. Scott Carpenter would be the alternate. Sylvia Wheeler would be a regular. And we did not have enough votes for the third position. Would the board like to vote again, or do you want to bring it back to the April meeting when we bring the other applications?
I'm in favor of voting again.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion that we vote again to complete.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Do we need to do the ballots again, or?
Yes, I would, but I need you to vote.
Okay, any discussion? Roll vote, Commissioner Davis?
Favor.
Commissioner Clark?
I'm not in favor.
Commissioner Harrison?
Not in favor.
Commissioner Miles?
Favor.
Commissioner Baxter?
In favor.
Motion passes.
We'll just be voting for in-town now.
We'll be voting for a regular
In-town
position. That's all that we're doing in-town.
Thank you.
Just as a reminder, you're not required to vote just because a name has been brought forward.
Everyone mark the ballots.
Let me try to spell this one. Thank you.
Amber Davis, Rufus Wilson, Quentin Miles, yes, Rufus Wilson, Shannon Baxter, Rufus Wilson, and Commissioner Clark, Scott Carpenter's already been appointed as an alternate, so did you want to vote a different way? So no vote then?
No vote.
All right, no vote for Commissioner Clark and no vote for Jessica Harrison. Rufus Wilson received 3 votes. He has been appointed as a regular representative of the Board of Adjustment. We will make all of these individuals aware of where they have been appointed and get them in touch with staff representation. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have a question. I have a question as it relates to the appointments. With the appointments we just made, if a citizen is not interested in serving on the board, would they just communicate that with Lisa? Or who would they communicate that to? When you
Yes,
send
they
the
would
email?
communicate it with me. We'll reach out to him tomorrow.
Okay.
And if he's not interested in that, then we would make the board aware of that in April.
Okay, Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Mr. Wilkins is here.
Please come up. Please come up. What we're trying to find out, if you're interested in serving on the Board of Adjustment, we kind of selected.
No, I'm
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Then we will bring that vacancy back, since Mr. Wilson has declined that position. We will bring that back to the April meeting for consideration when we bring the other appointments to the board.
April meeting, what other appointments are going to come before us?
It will be any positions that are up as of July 1, or they go through June 30. Our appointments go through June 30, so anything that's coming up for that time frame will come to you at that point. And I can't tell you what it is right off the top of my head.
But they're coming before us in April?
Yes, because some of them are ETJ representatives, which have to go to Wake County. You only make a recommendation for an ETJ representative. Wake County makes the official appointment. So
Okay.
it will come to you in April. We're in the process of wanting to send stuff out right now.
And then the other two boards?
Pardon me?
Besides the Board of Adjustment, the other two boards?
Yes, it's for all boards.
Okay.
What we may end up with is if we don't get, it's a quick turnaround right now since we've just done this. It may not come until May. We want to give them time to get their applications in. And if you have people that you want to get the applications in as well.
Okay.
So we will keep the applications that we currently have on file, we will keep those as well? They automatically transfer over to May, is that correct?
We will ask them, since we got them this year and we just did the appointments, so yes, we would keep them if they're still interested in serving, and we would ask them, is what we normally do, just to make sure, because sometimes they're not. If they are more than, 6 months old, then we ask them to resubmit.
So with that said, Mr. Rufus Wilson, would that be something to be potentially interested in, come back in May, sir? Yes, sir. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions, comments concerning board appointments? Hearing none. Ten-minute recess. New business, finance, audit recommendation.
Thank you again. It is time for the contract renewal for the audit. We concluded a 3-year contract with Malden and Jenkins with the conclusion of the FY23 audit that was presented back in, I think it was the December meeting or possibly November. So we sent out a request for proposal, sent it out, put it on the town's website and social media accounts, listed on the NC Finance listserv, and directly emailed to 12 firms in our central region, giving a due date for proposals for February 19th, 2024, a couple weeks ago. We received just 3 proposals back. Those 3 were from Malden and Jenkins again, Martin Starnes and Associates, CPAs, out of Hickory, Thompson Price, Scott Adams and Company out of Whiteville. You'll see on your packet a little score sheet, a little table looks like this. They were scored on 5 criteria: responsiveness to the proposal, understanding of the audit to be conducted, technical experience, cost, and other items of consideration. You'll see those scores of the 3 firms on your sheet. Based on the scoring that we did, we have a recommendation, Martin Starnes and Associates. That's basically it. I'm willing to take any questions anybody might have.
Any questions, comments? Commissioner Baxter?
So when it says under the Stearns and Associates, it says that it does a single audit of up to 2 programs if necessary. Can you explain what that means, the 2 programs, please?
Yeah, in our case, this year, and probably going for a single audit is required if you receive federal funds of $750,000 or more. That would be a single audit. And what they have is 2 programs is included in that fee. So we would only have 1 this year with the ARPA funds. And typically, maybe in a couple years down the road, we might have more than 2, but not this year, probably next. So that additional fee wouldn't really apply. There wouldn't be a single audit and more than 2 programs.
So a program is just additional audit material?
Yes, like federal funds of over $750,000 require that single audit, which requires a whole lot more work due to audit standards with federal funds that were received. I think 2 years ago, with the CMAC grant, the Greenway grant, that was one, but I don't know when the last time we had more than 2. It's been a long time.
So let me just throw a scenario out there. If we were to apply for appropriations funds and say the total of those funds are more than $750,000, but say it's spread out, like if we do some kind of cross-municipal grant application, would that require each of the award-winning municipalities to run a program, or would the grant be split in such a way so that it might not trip the $750,000? It's a hypothetical, and I know you might not be able to answer.
If only our portion, let's say it's $5 million, let's say split 4 ways, for instance, which I don't know that there would ever be that, but if it's over $750,000 our portion, then that would require a single audit.
Okay, so it would just be our portion of whatever, okay.
If we spend $750,000 or more, that would require a single audit.
Okay, and that would be like the total of all grant funds, or just from one funding source?
From one funding source.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it would be very rare for us in our experience so far to have more than 2.
Okay.
Most years, we're going to have one, like coming up maybe with the USDA grant for the fire station, that would be one. The ARPA funds would be the one this year, so that won't be going forward. So it would just depend on what other grants we might get. North Arundel grant, that could be one when it happens and construction and expenditures are made. But that's kind of a what if, and it doesn't really apply this year, probably not next year, but could. But
And so what would the additional cost of each program be? Should we have like 3 or 4? Is there like a scale, is there an
Yeah.
economy of scale with that, or?
Well, I believe it was 4,000 for 2, and then I want to say additional 4,000 for above that.
Okay. But the proposal from Martin Starnes says that it would include 2 programs if they're necessary.
Right. Yeah, it says 4,000 for up to 2, and then 4,000 for each major program in excess of 2.
Okay.
So let's say we had 3, it'd be 4,000 additional.
Okay. And then as far as the duration of the contract, is there an option for us to go with a 2-year contract? Are 3-year contracts the norm? What is the industry standard?
Minimum 3 I talked to a couple of their references that have done 5-year contracts, but I think the standard is typically 3 for the most part. That's what we've always done with the previous auditor. We did like multiple 3-year contracts, and this one we just completed with Malden and Jenkins was 3.
And so can we put a stipulation into the contract, and this might be something for Attorney Vernon to maybe weigh in on. Say that the audit is late getting back to us, could we write verbiage into the contract stating that that would somehow breach the contract and it would give us the opportunity to look elsewhere if we chose?
I guess I would have to ask what our concern is about it being late.
I just want to make sure that any auditor that we have gets all of the information in on time.
So much of what they do is information based on what we provide to them. So sometimes it's difficult to figure out what late is. But in most service contracts, you do have a performance deadline where they have to deliver the product.
Okay.
In those events, you could have what they call a liquidated damages clause, where you say, okay, you have to hit it by a certain deadline, and if you don't, then there's a financial penalty that you would incur for not doing it. So that's something you can talk about.
Thank you so very much. And do we have one of those deadlines in the current contract?
Yes, October 31st.
October 31st? Okay. All right, wonderful. So it's kind of a moot point since it's already included in there. Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? Is there a motion?
I hereby move to approve a
I hereby move to
3-year
approve a
contract with
3-year
Martin
contract
Starnes.
with Martin
Oh, go ahead.
Starnes and Associates, CPAs, beginning with the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Questions, comments? Roll vote. Commissioner Baxter?
In favor.
Commissioner Miles?
Favor.
Commissioner Harrison?
Favor.
Commissioner Clark?
Favor?
Commissioner Davis?
Favor.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thanks.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. What we heard today was from some of our incredible nonprofits in the community that were applying for the nonprofit funding grant. Many of you are still here, and we're really excited to hear about them. What I want to go over is the process that we did to reach out to these nonprofits, the conversation that we had with them, and start the first step of a dialogue that we're hoping to have at the work session on the nonprofit funding grant, the goal of it, and what we can do to better serve nonprofits in our community. The adopted policy, just to go over it real quick, we have a pot of $5,000 available to nonprofits in Zebulon, with up to $1,000 per organization that is able to be allotted. They must meet a strategic plan focus area, and is available to 501c3 organizations that are servicing Zebulon that have been operating for at least 2 years. Additionally, these funds must be used to cover operating expenses, but not capital purchases. For the promotion process, we first put out the application with the due date of January 31st, and we had a robust communications and marketing strategy in order to reach nonprofits. We utilized public input to actually collect information from individuals who are interested in it. We promoted on social media. We send out emails, and we contracted those emails by going through the IRS and the Department of Revenue in North Carolina, and sifted through those to find nonprofits that are based in North Carolina or based in Zebulon that met that criteria, and used that information to get contact information for each of those nonprofits, which we then reached out to individually. This totaled to 85 unique contacts for nonprofits in Zebulon, alongside the other methods that we use to reach out to nonprofits. And additionally, we held an interest meeting, which many of y'all know was the nonprofit luncheon, designed to get nonprofits from the community into this room, actually, to go over this grant and talk about the health and the current standing of the nonprofit community in Zebulon. For the interest meeting, we had 25 representatives from nonprofit community show up, which we will discuss more on the exact feedback that we got from the nonprofits at the work session. And right now, we are recommending that we are proceeding with the current process of going through the applications, awarding the current money that we have, and consider other opportunities going forward that we can provide to our nonprofits at future work sessions. And so our next steps are very simple. We're recommending that we discuss more about this at the March work session, and we go through the normal award process at the FY25 budget meeting in June. As I said, we'll discuss it more in the upcoming weeks, but in this time, I'm happy to answer any questions immediately.
Any questions, comments from the board? Commissioner Baxter?
So when it says that it's available to 501c3 organizations, do they have to be in operation in Zebulon for 2 years, or they just have to be in operation for 2 years and have a connection or a proposed connection to Zebulon?
Of course. My understanding is that they don't have to be based in Zebulon, but they do have to be servicing Zebulon in the Zebulon community.
For the past 2 years?
For the past 2 years, but Bobby's nodding yes, so okay. I'll go with his expertise on that.
Okay, cool. That's how I understood it. I just wanted to make sure that that's how it was reading.
And that's totally fair, yeah.
Cool.
So they have to be already in Zebulon for 2 years established?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
My question is, where I would like with the board discuss, how can we potentially take a look at that? I find that most nonprofits, when they're getting a start, is when they need the seed money, the opportunity to expand. So I'm looking to see what and if we can do. The first 2 years for any nonprofit is probably the most time that they're struggling the most. So that's what I'm looking to do.
I totally agree with that. Totally agree.
That is the most critical time.
Any other comments, questions?
Did you guys take the list of recipients from prior years and reach out to them?
We did, yes.
Okay, because I have had a nonprofit just reach out to me and say that they were not contacted and they have received funds in the past. So I think that moving forward, we need to be real careful if that's how we're going to do the majority of our outreach, to make sure that we do capture all of the people that have received those funds in the past, because usually we've appointed them to people that are doing some pretty awesome work.
And I agree, it may be that our contact information for them was a little out of date, and so we can make sure that we're coming through it a lot more closely next year.
Any other questions, comments?
Comments. I think we need to take a look and figure out what we can do to kind of like adjust that 2 year period, if we can have some form of discussion that can be had. Because we know a lot of new citizens are coming in, starting a lot of new nonprofits. Some of them haven't even been 2 years, but I believe they deserve a fair chance to get some funding potentially from the town if they're going to be serving in the town of Zebulon. One would be, I look at the young lady that was here with a positive attitude for life. She's looking to expand here. It is something that we need, so I'll be willing to adjust it a little bit and see what we can do.
I think this is a excellent point and a very good opportunity for a larger conversation, because nonprofits serve our community effortlessly, and sometimes they come in hot, and they haven't been here a year. So I would love to continue this conversation. I think it's a conversation worth expanding on, for sure.
And so we're slated to talk more about this at the work session?
Yep,
Okay.
and I will consider everything that y'all have already talked about for this so we can bring it up then as well.
All right, great, thank you.
Of course.
Can I make sure also, because I'm reading the notes, I want to make sure I'm not missing something, with the feedback of 5,000 not being enough, are we going to be in discussion about that, of increasing that amount as well?
We can discuss whatever we want to discuss.
And I will bring up all the feedback that was laid out to us during that meeting. And so obviously it is whatever y'all think is most pertinent to discuss, but that will definitely be on one of the points of things that were brought up by nonprofits in this room.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you. Parks Rec facility use request. Director Long.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the board. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to bring this special event request before you. Whoops, that's not working. Great. This is for the 8K kickoff. We brought this application, the same application before you last year, or the same event, I'm sorry, before you last year. So the Boys and Girls Club is the applicant. This is the reinvention. If you recall, many years ago, we did the Zebulon Takes the Cake here in Zebulon. And that was over a course of years, ran by the Boys and Girls Club, ran by the Chamber. During COVID, that road race took a step back, and then the Boys and Girls Club have brought it back in the form of the 8K kickoff, and they are seeking to hold it's going to be both a 3K and an 8K to give it some uniqueness, to acquire more runners to the event, and they are looking to set up from 7 a.m. to 10:30. And the event will be 10:30 to noon, with the breakdown of the event from noon to 1. As I mentioned, it would be the 8K and 3K race, some food and beverage and music. I am going to show you the routes for both the 8K and the 3K. We had some concerns last year with the race being on Arundel Avenue. We felt that there was just a lot of traffic, even on a Saturday morning, in that area, and trying to push that traffic over a lane. I personally observed Public Works constantly running to pick up cones to keep those out of the roadway, and some parents expressed concerns of their kids running. And so we worked very closely with Public Works, the police department, and our representatives from the Boys and Girls Club to identify an alternate route that would bring the race off of Arundel Avenue and create a safer environment that would be better for everyone involved. So I'm not going to read through all of these. The board consideration was in your special event standards. So the things that you consider when you approve this event include these 8 items. There was a request to fee waiver. You did receive the same request last year, and it met the standards that you identified. I did leave a note that while the event is open to the public, there is a fee to register to participate in the race. The request of the town is use of the municipal complex, temporary closures to support the race in the adjacent neighborhood, and there's also the fee waiver request. The expected direct town expense, which is primarily for staff, is $1,146.70. The resolution for your consideration is 2024-19. And if you are going to move forward with an adoption of Resolution 2024-19, we would just need you to state any fee waiver that you would want to acknowledge in your adoption. I'm available if you have any questions.
We have the applicant here if he would like to come up and speak.
Your commissioners, my name is John Hanlon. I'm the local board member for the Zebulon Boys and Girls Club, and we're excited about bringing this race back again. Like we did, we made a couple of adjustments for safety reasons, and I think we're able to get a good route. The timing company is on board with how we made the adjustments, so that's great. Last year was our first year, and I was pretty excited about it. I think it ran really well. Like I said, we made room so we can make adjustments this year. And I look forward to it this year. It's going to be behind the building. We'll do our DJ again. The kids were excited about it. They had a good time. We had a lot of kids from the Boys and Girls Club running it. The weather held out for us. We had a great day. It was raining all around us, but we had a really good day. And I think we raised a little over $3,500 for that race. So if anybody has any questions.
Any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Baxter?
It's not a question, but I think that maybe probably both Parks and Rec as well as you, John, can speak to it. I have a significant amount of concern with the amount of asphalt that this race covers that has no sidewalks. We've run into issues with whether or not we're going to hold a parade because of danger and having to close off access to the roads by residents. And there's not on a lot of the routes, there's not even a sidewalk option. So I feel a little bit nervous about that, especially since there will be children running in this race.
So we have volunteers. They wear the red or orange vests at every corner. We have a police officer that starts the race, and then we have a police officer that follows through on the race. All the runners know that the road is not closed and that they need to stay to the right. So there are vehicles, if they want to pull out, they can pull out. But the volunteers on the corners, they understand that the interaction between the vehicles and the runners. So they're aware that they need to make that adjustment if a runner's coming by and there's a car coming. Just make everybody aware. We're putting signs up, I think the day before or that first morning, signs that say beware of runners for the race. And I think Public Works is going to, or the police department's going to put up some signage, electronic signage about runners in the neighborhood. Plus, we're also doing a postcard ahead of time to let the residents know that there's going to be runners in the neighborhood for the race. And actually, we try to approach the people that live in the neighborhood if they'll come out and volunteer on their corners. So we're trying to just get the community involved in that.
Well, we've had a little bit of concern about using just volunteers as far as for traffic control and safety when we've talked about this in the sphere of a parade. And I realize that this isn't quite parade status, but it is going to have people out on the road, a road that's not closed. And so I'm worried about what that means for us. And I know that we've got our representatives from ZPD here, and I don't know if there are any thoughts that perhaps you've got as far as how using volunteers for safety management is going to run.
Last year, I think it went very
You'll have to come up to, sorry. I just kind of pointed to you like it would be okay for you to talk. Sorry, that's my fault.
Yes, I think last year went very well with all John's representatives that he did have out there with traffic vests. And the two officers that we had continuously rode around the streets there that they're using with their blue lights on. One other thing we were going to offer this year is our new message board signs to be able to put in two of the directions for that to be putting out about the, caution runners in the roadway. So I think last year we didn't have any close calls or anything. Just being in the morning time, the traffic volume is lower on those residential streets than, of course, Arundel Ave was. With our north and south traffic out here on Arundel Ave, the lane change that we've done out here for years, last year the trucks were actually hitting the cones. So if they're hitting the cones on that one lane, they were very close. So that's kind of why we definitely steered away from the Arundel Ave to get off there.
And so for the time that the public would be, that the residents, the homeowners along the route would be impacted is potentially from 10 a.m. to 1, so there's a 3-hour window? No?
It's actually, the 8K race starts at 9, so pretty much by 10:15, everybody should be done with the race itself. And then the 3K, we're going to have that in the front. So that will start around like 8:15. And that will run, it's about a mile walk or run. So they'll just come back and circle back, and then we'll start the 8K race.
So from 8:15 till 10:15, so like a 2-hour window?
Roughly, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments for staff, questions? Is there a motion?
Can we offer some, I feel like I would like to table this until maybe the applicant has an opportunity to have a discussion with their attorney, just to make sure that everyone's on board with everything that we're asking, and then maybe just come back before us real quick at the April board meeting. So that's my motion, to table it until the April board meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? We have a roll vote. Commissioner Davis?
Favor.
Clark?
Opposed?
Commissioner Harrison?
Favor.
Commissioner Miles?
Favor.
Commissioner Baxter?
Favor.
Motion passed. Table until April.
The April board meeting, yes, sir.
Motion passed. Thank you. Next item would be the budget adjustment, correct?
Yes, it would be Parks and
Parks.
Recreation, Budget Amendment, Athletics, Ordinance 2024-35.
Commissioner?
Let me find the
page that it's on. I believe it's in the 30s. It's page 33, everybody.
Okay?
So in this ordinance, we are being asked to increase the budget for the youth leagues by $20,000. And I'm assuming that that's going to be touching on probably our increased soccer turnout, et cetera. And then we're going to be taking money from team uniforms. And if you look at page 35, am I reading this correctly, that we're increasing in both areas, or should the expenditures be over in the decrease?
No, we have had a 40% increase in athletics this year in total. So in order to pay for expenses related to spring sports, we need an increase to part-time salaries and an increase to team uniforms. And we are asking that you recognize the additional revenues. Because we've had that large of an increase, we did take in revenues that will offset the expenditure. And so we're asking that you recognize the additional revenue and recognize the additional expense at the same time. So the fees that we took in through registration is going to cover the cost of this additional expense.
Okay. So in total, we are going to be taking $20,000, the increase from the fees from the youth leagues, and then that's going to be divided up between part-time salaries and team uniforms.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That was my question.
Any more questions, comments? We need a vote?
Do we need a motion?
Oh, we can, a motion, I'm sorry. Do we want to do them all at one time? Or do them separately?
Separately.
Separately?
please.
Okay. We need a motion?
So I move to approve ordinance 2024-35.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Roll vote. Commissioner Baxter.
In favor.
Commissioner Miles.
Favor.
Commissioner Harrison.
Favor.
Commissioner Clark. Commissioner Davis.
Favor.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Public Works. Authorized public auction of knuckle boom truck. Commissioner Baxter?
Okay.
Did you? Or
That's fine, that's
What
fine.
did you-
Well, I've got a question, so that's
Okay.
fine. When we talk about a potential sale of $30,000 for the knuckle boom truck, I'm assuming that it could be less, or do we have a reserve?
No, ma'am, there's no reserve. When we put it out for public auction, it brings what it brings. Our estimate for the knuckle boom is greater than 30,000, so that's why we had to come forward. You get, based on our local ordinance adopted in, I believe, 98. Our estimate for the truck is in the mid-40s, so we
Okay.
are confident that it should be over 30.
Okay. And then, and I'm sorry if I'm taking anybody else's questions. I just have one more. So with this knuckle boom truck, are we still going to have the capacity within Public Works to do the same amount of work?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We, this past year, and thank you for, you appropriated a new truck for replacing this one. And then we also have a 2018. So we have two trucks that and staff to maintain the route.
Okay, I thought that we did, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry for whoever else has questions. Sorry about that.
Any other questions, comments concerning Resolution 2024-18? Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-18.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll vote. Commissioner Davis?
Favor.
Commissioner Clark?
Favor?
Commissioner Harrison? Commissioner Miles?
Favor.
Commissioner Baxter?
Favor.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next, Public Works Emergency Generator Replacement Ordinance 2024-36. Commissioner Miles?
Quick question. I'd like to know kind of what's going to happen to the old generator that we have.
Our intent at this time is to put it in our portable fleet and use it for special events.
Is that going to take, is there a cost associated with that?
No, ma'am. That generator originally, when purchased in 2004, was used at our lift stations, and that we had before we merged with City of Raleigh in 2006. That was portable, and since it was purchased with general fund funds, before we merged, we brought it back to Public Works and hooked it up to our transfer switch, so we would have something. And so there's no cost to make it retrofit it. In other words, for special events, it's ready to hit the road.
Quentin, do you have something else? No. Okay. I have another, I don't understand a little bit, so maybe you can explain some stuff to me. So there is item number 3, and do we have this on a slide or no?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So just for you guys in the audience, number 1, it says engineering drawings and specifications, a little bit over $13,000. Then the generator purchase, which is 100 kilowatts, comes in at $45,500. And then my question pertains to number 3, which is the generator installation bid after value in engineering comes in at almost $54,000. So almost $10,000 more than the purchase price of the generator.
Yes, ma'am.
And then just to round it out, the 4th item is the installation contingency of about $15,000, or 15% rather, of the bid price, which is about $8,000. And so we had appropriated $95,000 to be able to get this project done. But now there seems to be like not a little difference, and I don't understand. First off, you'll have to forgive me, I don't understand what value engineering means.
Okay.
And
Well, let's start with that one first. Let's
Okay,
break one down one at a time. What we did is our engineer and staff worked together to build a set of specifications for the bidders to bid. All right, through that process, we designed the pad, the connections, and et cetera. From that, we built that, we sent it out to bid, we received bids back. Due to the bids were overbid, we reached out to our contractor, our low bid contractor, and asked him, could he recommend any value engineering, any suggestions, improvements, or things we could change that will still allow the generator to function as designed, but potentially save us some money. He came back with 2 items and recommended to us was an adjustment to the concrete pad, and the second one was to go away from rigid conduit underground and use PVC. And so those 2 things added up to $10,000, and so thus he has agreed to lower his bid by $10,000, recognizing that we make those changes. We reviewed those changes with our engineer and myself, and we deem them to be acceptable and does not adversely affect the project. And so thus we were able to lower the bid price.
so the not the original, but whatever this bid is now, was prior to that $63,950?
That is correct. And he gave it $10,000 worth of value engineering or substitutions in product that we have agreed to.
And then, of course, the contingency, just in case the project goes over. But just help me understand first why there's such a big difference between what was asked for and what it actually came back at. And then second,
We'll start with that one.
Yeah.
Currently, about a year ago, as we started our budget process, we put together an estimate, working with our engineer, based on what we could forecast and what we could see. Clearly, we felt $95,000 at the time was sufficient, but you just never know until you're on bid day. One of the things that I think you've heard us mention before here is this market that Wake County is in is extremely tight, extremely competitive, and the contractors have got a lot of work. Also, due to the complexity of this project and the specialty work associated with it, the bids have just come in a little bit higher. So I think it's a combination of market, it's a combination of the specialty work, and, you know, I guess a little bit of uncertainty. As we were designing this generator, we were projecting out future work for expansion of the facility. That work had not been done yet. So our estimates probably did not take into effect that we had to go up 2 different sizes at the time, because we didn't know it. We were still doing our due diligence. So like anything else, the estimating process in the budget is not exact. We try our best to give you the best numbers. We also try to be conservative with the numbers, but unfortunately, this time we missed this one. So, you know, I will tell you, we've had to hit 7 in a row bids here recently, and so we feel comfortable about that. But unfortunately, this one, due to specialty work, came in higher.
And then also, this is going to just speak to my ignorance as far as all things generator, because my generator at home, I just kind of plug into the box.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is $54,000 worth of installation, so can just help me wrap my head around it.
Yes, ma'am. What we are doing here is we have a transformer that brings into an automatic transfer switch. We have to dig down and split the conduits. I got a feed to our Public Works facility. I have a feed to our shop. We have to intercept those feeds and tie in this new generator and set the generator in place. We also have to feed a panel from my shop to the generator. So it comes from about working with 3-phase. Your house is single phase. We're dealing with much larger cables. We're also extending the circuitry out of the transfer switch to stub out to a 200 amp 3-phase transfer switch for in the future when we expand and build other buildings. That connection is right there. We're also modifying our generator a little bit to put some cables on it and pin connections to allow the generator to be in use while the other generator is being set. In case we had an emergency, our existing generator would crank and fire and run, and while the new one is being put in place. So it is complex, and it's not something an everyday licensed electrician would be doing. So another piece, we have a limited market of skilled set to deal with this really technical piece, and hopefully I didn't get too deep with anything.
No, that's what I needed to hear.
No, we all understand.
And so, the way things are going to be run, it's going to take into account the new building on the pad that's been poured?
Yes, ma'am, and
Okay,
our
cool.
future expansion and the future buildings, and also any upgrades
To the
our-
east?
To the east, or any upgrades to our administrative offices, and even if we decide to put air conditioning in our existing shop, we have accommodated those loads. So we have reached out and done our analysis to make sure what we are purchasing will work for the next 20 years for that site.
Oh, so that was my next question. The life of the generator,
20 years typical.
20 years. And once we decide that we've gotten to the point where this generator needs to be replaced, are we going to be able to do something similar and move it into the portable fleet in any way?
This one will not. This one is going to be a stationary mount. This one we are also changing to natural gas. And so we're feeding it with natural gas, and so we don't have to worry about during an emergency coming back and refilling it up. Well, clearly, in emergency, we're stretched thin, so having natural gas will be a constant fuel supply. We'll be piping in natural gas to this generator, so it will be constantly ready with fuel unless there's a natural gas main break. We will have a reliable fuel source throughout the emergency to supply Public Works with power to be able to meet your needs.
And so and this is, I'm probably down to my last 27 questions, guys, then I'll be done.
Yeah, because you already took 2 of mine.
Oh, all right, well, see, there we go. Sorry. The cost of the increase for the generator is going to be paid out of what, it's the equipment shed?
Yes,
Were
ma'am.
there savings there?
Yes, the
or-
savings, yes, ma'am. The equipment shed is one of the projects we brought under bid, and so we are taking $25,000 of those savings and transferring to this project. So there's no new general fund balance appropriation, or any other new funds to this project. These are funds that were previously designated for the equipment shed that we are transferring to cover this shortfall.
And what was the total savings on that equipment shed project?
Approximately $200,000.
Okay, so then there'll be a little under $175,000.
That's with the 25 is still 200.
With the 25, there's still 200 in savings.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right.
So those funds are where? So those funds are where? Or those funds, that excess funds are where then? Are they back in the general fund or
They're still in the project, and they will be at the end of the year be closed out and rolled back in the general fund as part of annual year, fiscal year closeout.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for answering all of my questions. I'm
No
actually
problem.
done. I
What
was
we're here
just
for.
kidding. I didn't have 27. I only had 2.
Commissioner Davis, you have
Oh,
a
she
set
answered
of
my
comments?
questions. I'm good. Thank you.
Questions, comments for Chris? Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2024-36.
We have a motion, is there a second? Discussion? Have a roll vote, Commissioner Miles?
Favor.
Commissioner Baxter?
Favor.
Commissioner Davis?
Favor.
Commissioner Clark? Commissioner Harrison?
Favor.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Manager's report.
Mayor, members of the board, in addition to the monthly financial report that's included as an addendum, there's a couple of other addendums in there related to project schedules. I'm going to recognize Michael Clark for the development update, and then recognize Bobby Fitz for some budget transfers, and he also has some information that's follow-up from the last month, your last meeting. With that, I recognize Mr. Clark.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. As always, for the development update, the best resource for the citizens of Zebulon is to use our interactive development map. It can be found on the planning tab on the development planning tab on the town's website under interactive development map. And as you may recall, we kind of split it out into 2 components. As always, viewing the development map in the full screen is probably the easiest to navigate. But in terms of the items that have been received over the past month and a half or so, in February, we did receive a planned development request for 901 MacTod Road. As you may recall, this originally received approval for a bungalow court. However, the applicant has come back to request a different project. And this time, it's going to be a 13-unit townhome subdivision where some of the townhomes would actually front onto a green space. This is currently in review with our technical review committee, and we'll be making recommendation on this following a joint public hearing later on this summer. Another development that just came in last last Friday that we don't have the full development page created for is at 1922 Zebulon Road. And this is coming in as a conditional zoning request for an automotive repair facility to be located here. They want to use a lot of the existing site in terms of location, but bringing in some additional structures. We are looking for potentially in April, we're still doing the final review, April joint public hearing coming before you for 24/7 fitness, which would be a mixed use building that would have a fitness center and then 2 out parcel tenant spaces. We're still working through some connectivity requirements into the neighboring parcels, but the applicant's been very responsive, and I believe the most recent site plan even has renderings available. Let me verify that. Yes, this is approximately what that building will look like based on the existing. We are going to be requesting be pulled a little bit closer to the street and reducing some of the required landscaping that would otherwise be blocking the view of this building to make it a bit more
Could you repeat the first part of what you were going to be asking? I didn't hear it.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Could you repeat the first portion of what you said that you would be asking for? I didn't hear it.
As of right now, this will be potentially coming before you for the April joint public hearing. We're still working with the applicant for the transit impact analysis and some other site design configurations. The other one that I was mentioning is some connectivity. There we go. The Waffle House is located here, and there's a stub for them to connect in, and we're going to want them to make sure that they have that connectivity going.
Thank you. That's the part that I missed.
Yep.
Thanks.
Other items of note is Weaver's Point, which was a residential subdivision conditional zoning that was approved off of Weaver's Pond. That's come in for its first round of construction drawing review. And something that you may see, we're doing the final review right now, may see at the April joint or the April regular board meeting. Get my bearings here. There we go. There was a Storage Max, which was a self-storage facility that was approved as part of a special use permit approximately a year and a half, 2 years ago. They are now looking forward to complete their construction drawings, and part of that will require annexation. It was approved being that was in the extraterritorial jurisdiction. However, in order to move forward and be able to connect into municipal utilities, it does require annexation. We're in the final reviews of determining whether or not all the signatures are there and everything else, but we're anticipating that potentially coming before you at next month's regular meeting. There will be no joint public hearing for March, but we have also been working on catching up and getting ahead of some of the certificate of occupancies. And as you know, there's all sorts of new families moving into the town. Right now, our estimated population based on those new homes being occupied is actually above 11,000. To put that in perspective, we went above 10,000 last July, so we've gained almost 1,000 new residents in the past just over 7.5 months. I'm available if you have any questions.
Questions, comments? Commissioner Baxter?
So were there any significant changes to the Storage Max submission?
No.
Okay. And then the bungalow court that you were referring to, was that the Negrita court?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And can you just refresh me what I kind of remember what the layout was originally, but just for.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
the original.
That's what it's looking, what they're asking for right now.
That's
the
correct.
Changes.
There was a single drive that came in, and there was a cluster of 5 homes around that
Okay,
drive.
that's what I thought. So they're wanting to add quite a few more homes to the project? Is that what this is?
Yes, that's
mostly?
correct.
Okay.
They're increasing their dwelling unit count by proposing this project.
And when we look at the public alley, there's the, kind of going down the middle, do you have your doohickey? Oh, yeah, yeah,
Right here?
go, yep, right there. Is that going to be a stub, is that going to be stubbed right there at the other end?
This end?
Yeah.
This end will terminate there
Will terminate.
because of the environmentally sensitive areas here.
Okay, that was my question, yeah.
But it will stub to this side for future connectivity, and it would be only constructed to alley standards versus full, regular public right-of-way standards.
What is that going to mean as far as emergency vehicle access?
That is something that's being reviewed as part of our
Okay.
technical review committee. Both the police and fire departments are members of that committee to make sure that those are fully being evaluated.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions, comments for planning?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, first I'll do the budget transfers that we're reporting. And police moved 10,000 from part-time salaries to salaries overtime, and moved 2,000 from materials and supplies to community policing. In public works, property and project management, moved 10,000 from downtown sidewalk cleaning, 2,000 of that to water and sewer at the stadium, 4,000 to ZMC maintenance, 2,500 to equipment maintenance, 890 to vehicle maintenance, and 610 to insurance and bonds for the stadium. And Public Works Operations moved 8,000 from materials and supplies for snow and ice removal, 4,000 to vehicle maintenance, and the other 4,000 to materials and supplies sanitation. And in engineering moved 1,305 from insurance and bonds to contract services permitting renewal. The other handout I gave you was, as Joe mentioned, follow-up to last month's budget amendment. It was done for the financial advisors for the bond referendum project. The handout is the invoice that was in question from last month. This was for their services provided basically February 1st through December of 2023. I know you just got it, but if there's any questions, you can just let me know if you see anything on there right off the bat.
So as part of this contract, we have agreed to pay for the financial advisor's meals, lodging, and mileage. That's not wrapped separately into their fee structure?
It's not. I mean, it is separate from their fee structure. Is that, you say it was wrapped in?
So
or
it's
separate.
above and beyond what their
Correct.
fee structure entails.
Correct.
Is there a cap that we have agreed to as far as what those direct expenses can be?
I don't believe so. I don't believe there's a cap. I don't believe so. I have the agreement here. I just printed out the compensation part. I'd have to look at the rest of it to see for sure. I don't remember there being a cap on it.
So since these folks are located out of Richmond, right?
Right.
I'm assuming that there's some of this that probably they need to be directly here in order to get signatures, maybe. I'm not really sure what this all entails. But how much of this is able to be captured with Zoom meetings, et cetera?
We did, well, the direct expenses, I think they came to maybe 3 or so mini retreats and maybe a board meeting or work session or 2. So that's what those are associated with. We did have a lot of Zoom meetings with them. I mean, they didn't come down here and do any in-person meetings with staff. Only times they came down here were meeting with the board at the mini retreats
Okay.
and work sessions.
Thank you, thank you.
Any other questions, comments from finance? Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Mayor, that concludes the manager's report.
Board comments? Commissioner Davis?
So he's not going to talk about these right here?
Yeah, actually,
I got a question.
Okay,
There's
hold on to board comments. We still back with the manager's report. Questions?
well, there's B.
B?
and C. B and C.
Those are included as addendums.
What now?
Okay, I guess we can speak to those. Those are just the little write-ups at the very end on page 116. Is that correct? Because I just have one page and it's just 116.
There's, the addendums start on 116 and continue through
No, that's the sales tax. That's the financial report. Are you speaking of something other than talking about the director and assistant town manager and the personnel policy?
No, ma'am. 116 has the schedule updates. 117 is the monthly financial report. 119, or 117 and 118 is the staff report for the monthly financial staff report. And then 119 through 122 are the attachments to that financial statement staff report.
I'm sorry, some of us are at least one of us is missing. One of us is missing page 116, so.
Okay, we'll make sure that we email that out to you in the morning then.
It looks like this.
Well, just where do we currently stand with the personnel policies? Just, you could enlighten me on that, please?
Sure. So I'm reading from the staff report on the personnel policy. Revisions to the personnel policy are on draft form, and granted, Ms. Markman might have even a more current update, but at the time of this writing, Dr. Linda Jordan is performing a scan of the language and the intent of the policy from a lens of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Department directors will begin to familiarize themselves with the operational aspects of the policy and note any functionality or procedural concerns in implementing and administering the document with employees. The board should have a document to review at June's work session. So again, I'm reading from the that section of the staff report, and I apologize that did not make that into your packet.
You're fine. If Ms.
Yes, I do have an update. We received comments back from Dr. Jordan the first part of February. I got them the night before I went on vacation, so they had not been reviewed until late in the month in February. And so we will be moving forward with implementing her comments into the policy, sharing that with the directors to get their feedback on the policy, and then we will move forward from there.
Help me understand what's to be given it to the directors, what is supposed to come on that implementation?
Board directed staff to get input from them when we started this process, and they provided input in the beginning, and we want them to provide input on what has been completed to date.
Once again, what I'm going to kind of elaborate to my fellow members, we've been working on this for 2.5 years now, 2 years. So I think we've had ample amount of time for input to get this policy in place. So I don't know what it's going to take for us to make this policy get in place, but it's been dragging out now. So I'm trying to figure out what and if we can do with my fellow commissioners to express the importance of this policy.
You've been clear in that expression. If we can accelerate this, we absolutely will.
Those comments that are under review right now, are you saying that you have not had a chance to review those that are coming from Ms. Jordan? That's correct?
No, I've reviewed them since I got back.
Okay. And those, when you're saying from there that will go to the directors, will we have a chance as a board to review that?
Her comments will be implemented, incorporated into the document. And then the whole document will go to the directors for review to give their comments. And yes, you will get the entire document to review and to give feedback on.
And the time frame of that, I'm sorry, is?
Joe explained that it would be the work session in June.
Since we now have Dr. Jordan's thoughts, is there any way that we could possibly move this to May? I realize that we are in budget season, but this really is an emergent issue we've been working on for a long time.
Again, if we can accelerate it, we absolutely will. We know that you've made a point that you want this sooner than later, and so absolutely, we will push this sooner than later. What I didn't want to do was give you a shorter time frame when I hadn't even heard from the department directors, but if we can get through that process, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
am I to also understand that we're done with Mr. Drake Maynard, Mr. Maynard? His work is complete, is that correct?
It is, he has retired.
So where does that leave us with his work on our project?
He has completed the project.
Oh, okay.
And he's gotten us everything that he was tasked to do.
Okay.
Whatever changes you choose to make will be up to the board.
Okay, awesome. Well, when you just said he's retired.
He retired. We were
I mean,
his last.
that's fine, he's allowed to, but I just want to make
We were his last
sure.
project.
Okay, all right.
I'd like to think we did not drive him to retirement.
And then one last thing for me as well, that same is also the IT and town manager, IT and town manager position. I'd like to discuss with my fellow commissioners as well, the importance of kind of like that assistant town manager position. Right now, to me, I see that we have IT covered, Network South, they are costing us funds, but I see the importance more so of an assistant town manager than the IT. Just throw that out there for discussion.
Well, I think that since we've been talking about an assistant town manager for a very long time, I have to assume that the job analysis, if it's expected to start in April, I would imagine it would be completed before April was done, since this is something that the manager and staff have been tasked with addressing for quite some time now. But is there a reason why we can't post both the IT director as well as the assistant town manager at the same time and run those processes dually?
Possibly. That's a conversation we'll need to have with developmental associates on their bandwidth. but that's certainly a possibility.
I can't stress enough how strongly I feel about getting the assistant town manager on board, because I think that we have people from other departments that we're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul, and we've got folks doing things that could really be under the purview of the assistant town manager. For example, the plan grant meetings and revisions could probably better be handled by an assistant town manager. And so I really would like to see, since we are not using developmental associates in another hiring process that we're going through, I'd really like to see if they could please handle both the IT director as well as the assistant town manager at the same time.
Commissioner Baxter, I have a question.
Sure.
You made a comment, I think I know what you meant, but you made a comment about robbing Peter to pay Paul. I think, were you getting at department directors wearing multiple hats?
Yeah, kind of. I think that sometimes we ask them to do a lot, and it makes it so that some of their other job functions are perhaps like not addressed fully. And I get it, because we're stretched thin. That's why I think it's super important for us to get these positions filled.
All right, thank you for clarifying.
Nick?
Sure.
Has the board, I'm hearing repeatedly about the urgency of hiring an assistant town manager. Has the board not come to a decision of when we would like to have an assistant town manager by, like a specific date?
I don't think we just have taken the steps and give that directive. I think that's what will be our next steps. Okay, we want an assistant town manager potentially on board X, Y, and Z and announce that position. I don't think we've taken those steps, not at least since I've been on board. I'm not sure, Mr. Baxter.
We've been talking about it for years. And so maybe we need to nail down a date where we'd like to have this hiring process completed by? Okay.
This has been going on.
I think that what the board should really recognize and pay attention to in this situation is when we are trying to look for personnel, the roadblocks that we have seen that we are running into. So I totally agree that it's something that is priority, that should take priority, but I think that we can all speak from experience and understanding that trying to put dates on some of these things, it is urgent, and I think that the staff has heard how urgent it is to the board, but I don't want us to put ourselves in a bind by putting dates, especially when we have had a seat at the table with how challenging it can be to find qualified candidates to fill some of the roles that we are trying to fill.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't disagree either. With that said, I've been on the board now 2.5 years. I think even to the prior board, we've been saying this since I've been here 2.5 years. That priority has been put on assistant town manager. I've read it from day one. So within 2.5 years, we've had, I believe, ample amount of time with roadblocks to be able to find and start enlisting that position. So I think that we now must take steps to allow the importance, the express importance of that position being filled in a timely manner. Even if we, according to documentation that we have, if you list it by June, you have pretty much 90 days thereabouts, a window to turn about. You're looking potentially to fill that by January 1, potentially, of 2025. We do need that position filled before then. As Commissioner Baxter and you guys have stated, we're stretching staff thin. So this position can and will kind of absorb some of that work.
I think that if that's the route that we're going to go, we need to make sure that our language is not definitive, because we, again, understand where we are with getting qualified candidates, and especially with the roles of directors and assistant town managers. We want to make sure that while we have been having this conversation for a long time, we've had numerous conversations about should we do assistant or assistant two or different things like that. And, you know, we've all voiced our opinions, our concerns, and as well as our frustrations with all of it. I just want to make sure that we're not setting out these expectations that we may can't meet, and that our staff may be put in a place that just brings up more burden on the ones who are already overworked, or more confusion and more conversation to be brought back to the table again that we've had over the last 2.5 years, especially when we have a seat at the table and we understand the challenges that we can be facing in these type of situations.
So maybe
I go back to,
Chair, something, I think you've got the schedule wrong, if I may say, that it says that the assessments are expected to occur in late June. That means that that's this year, not next year. So
Correct.
that means if an assessment is happening, that means that's the assessment center, where we've already narrowed it down on who's coming in and when it's going to occur. And if it happens in late June, then that means they could start potentially, if they have to give a 4-week notice, first part of August. So,
Thank you.
thank you for
You're
clarifying
welcome.
that.
And the other thing that the board needs to decide is, are we going to use these consultants to do this work? Because we're going to have to pay somebody to do these lifts, because we don't have the bandwidth to do this. So we need to decide at some point what resources are we going to fund to make sure these assessments and things move forward with these consultants.
I like that idea.
Mayor,
Okay,
this
it's gonna move
would
on.
be something that the manager would hire for. Neither one of these positions would come before the board. The IT director nor the assistant town manager would come before the board for consideration.
So therefore, there shouldn't be an issue to list them both at the same time then?
It depends on if we are using developmental associates, what is their capacity to run them both at the same time, because we're not their only client. So it just depends. We normally use developmental associates for all director and leadership positions.
Are they the only resource that we have to utilize? Do we have
No,
a
I
contract
have
with those?
been looking into others that are out there. We've chosen developmental associates because they're local, and we try to use local when we can, but there are several others that have been recommended, and we are in the process of looking into those as well.
Is this
But-
is this something the league can help us with, kind of give us some direction, some potential
Can
people?
who?
The League of
The
Municipalities.
league, they don't do assessment centers.
I'm saying give us some direction, potential clients that we can utilize as we go forward.
I would check to see if they have, if they've got a preferred vendor, because they have a preferred vendors list. I would have to look and see. Developmental associates may be their preferred vendor. I don't know.
Okay.
On that one, but there are several groups
All right. Thank you.
that we're looking into. So this is just the general idea and the schedule that we're striving for.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions? So what we're saying is we want to move this process along, if at all possible. As far as personnel policy is concerned, as far as the IT and assistant manager, town manager, as far as getting the vendors to see if they have the bandwidth to post both of these at the same time.
Yes, sir.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Anything else you need from us?
No, sir.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you. Board comments, Commissioner Davis.
I just want to thank you for the proclamation of Women's History Month. I think that was very important, and I am smiling ear to ear, shining to be on this board, sitting next to 3 other women. Makes me very, very proud, so thank you.
I don't have any comments at this time.
Person?
Thank you. I concur for the Women's History Month. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Commissioner Baxter, for celebrating, honoring, and always remembering women, and especially women in government. I am so excited, honored, and it is my pleasure and privilege to announce that next week I will be heading, myself as well as fellow commissioners will be heading to Washington, D.C. to represent Zebulon at the National League of Cities Congressional City Conference, where we will have the opportunity to meet with some of our representatives to bring them some amazing information and to see how we can represent Zebulon and bring resources back to our town. Thank you to the staff who has provided very good direction, talking points, and things that we can look at to get Zebulon's name on the brain of our representatives so that we can bring back some funding. Also excited to announce that I will be chairing for the first time the National League of Cities Youth Education and Families Chair. And I've heard numerous times tonight about, our youth and wanting to bring more programs and services. And so my hope in this role is to be able to bring back resources, funding, and programming that are being used nationally to Zebulon so that we are recognized. So thank you for this opportunity, and I will do my best to represent Zebulon very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Miles?
I would like to tip my hat to all who threw their hats in the ring for our town appointed boards. As Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's only the thing that ever has. I'm excited to see what our newly formed small groups of thoughtful, committed citizen boards accomplish together.
Commissioner Baxter?
Sadly, I have to report that my very sweet breakdancing moves did not win Dancing with the Stars. And I must apologize to all of Zebulon for maybe omitting some of the breakdancing moves that I thought would physically hurt me, which was pretty much all of them, actually. But I tried, and I'd like to recognize Zebulon's own Wayne Dupree for the time and effort that he has put in to helping the children of Belarus, and his efforts are extensive, and I'm certainly very happy to have been able to participate in a very small way to help that ministry reach its goals. There's going to be a Belarusian Day coming up in the not too distant future, and I would encourage those who are able to attend. We were able, through the Dancing with the Stars, to raise over $50,000. I think that they still have, in order to hit their goals, about $25,000 more. So I'm just putting that out there. And then I'd like to just talk a little bit about the townhouses that are coming to Arundel Avenue. Seeing the way they have been built out has been shocking. It's been disturbing. It is nothing how I envisioned something that we would allow. I know that sometimes navigating the UDO can be tricky, and I myself did not have any thoughts in a million years that the front doors to those townhomes would be stumbling distance from some very serious traffic. In addition, there's a bunch of trees planted out there, some of which
have already died because they're in between the sidewalk and the street. And I think that by not protecting our town better through the documents that we have, we've kind of done a little bit of a disservice. In the design, yes, it doesn't really match the rest of the character of Zebulon, but also if we ever wanted to widen the road on that section of Arundel, it's going to be a super big challenge now. And so I would like to see, and I would hope that maybe the board would agree with me, that we revisit those sections of the Unified Development Ordinance that kind of allowed that development to happen. Because as we know, it didn't come before the board for approval. And so I think that putting together that massive document was a lot of work, and I think there are still there's room for improvement as far as how we move forward to make sure that we don't have something quite like that in the future. I think that we needed certainly some bigger setbacks for that development. And so can I just kind of ask you guys to maybe either agree or disagree that we'd like to revisit the UDO for maybe those kinds of developments in the future?
I mean, I think, yeah, that development or that is a.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a
scary,
lot.
And we've gotten a lot of feedback from it as well.
I think that's a prime example of why we do need to revisit our UDOs on a scheduled basis to make sure that what is developed fits what we want.
We want continuity, we want congruity, and I think that maybe we just kind of missed the mark there. And I don't think that it's anyone's fault necessarily. It's an enormous document, and it's a little bit hard to navigate. And I know when a developer comes in, they've got people that get paid a lot of money to look for ways that they can build a development the way that makes sense for them. So if we could please ask the planning department to maybe put that on your radar as something that we can address in the future, that would be super helpful. And I would just like to apologize for tabling the minutes until the work session. I just didn't have the time to read through them all before tonight's meeting. I just didn't have enough time to do that. And so my apologies. We will address it at the work session. I think that we talked about everything else. I'm not going to spend tonight talking about all of the wonderful things that we've got going on, but we always do. So please investigate social media.
Primaries are tomorrow.
Get out and vote. 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 I will make a list available of who I believe would do a great job if anyone cares. But please get out and vote, and the primaries are actually super important this year. They're super important every year, but I feel like there's a lot at stake, especially in the state of North Carolina, surrounding the primaries. So thanks, Commissioner Harrison, for reminding me of that.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment on the North Carolina League of Municipalities upcoming elections of vacant boards. If anybody's interested, the open period is from March 1 to March 31st. I am on the nominating committee for some of these vacancies, so take a look at it and see if you're interested in maybe being a part of some of those. Hat goes off to our Zebulon PD for their rapid conclusion of the bank robbery case. I know that took a lot of effort and joint efforts with other law enforcement groups, but when something like that happens in a small community and around residents, it's always good to know that we won't tolerate that kind of activity here in our town, and we will definitely investigate and do what we need to do to make sure that that's being prosecuted. But thanks, because I know that's a lot of work for the police and the detectives and everyone involved. So thank you. And that's all I have. Go ahead.
For the North Carolina League of Municipalities, can we nominate each other, or do you have to fill out your own application?
Either way.
You can-
It can go either way. You can nominate someone, or you can nominate yourself.
Okay.
But all the vacancies are on the website. I think this is District 6, so it's not up for election this year. It's only odd number of districts. But anyway, all the information. And if you got questions, you can certainly contact me or contact the board or the league.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Next, as allowed by GS 143-318, 11A6, for the purpose of personnel discussions, I need a motion to go into closed session.
Make a motion to go into closed session.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Closed session will be next door.
Yeah.
5 minute break, recess.